If you haven't driven through Bethesda lately, you might not recognize it. There's so much redevelopment happening. There's mixed-use high-rises, luxury apartments, destination restaurants, commercial, trendy retail, and Bethesda is not tiptoeing around urbanism, it's diving in. Things are looking pretty awesome there. Bethesda is actually becoming like a real hub for arts and entertainment as well. But the real question, of course, is can Bethesda keep up with itself, or with all the development, will it be too much to support? I am Melissa Terzis, DC Real Estate Mama. This is my channel about all things real estate in the DC area and Maryland and Virginia. Do the subscribey things below because it helps the channel. So if you think that all urban suburban action is in Tyson's corner, think again. Bethesda's coming in hot. In 2024, Bethesda Row celebrated its 30-year anniversary. There's over 500,000 square feet of mixed-use space here. The success of Bethesda Row, and then also Pike and Rose, which is up the street in North Bethesda, has been very strong. So what's new for Bethesda restaurants and retail? Well, let's start with the very popular Mon Ami Gabi. It is a French restaurant that had closed for renovations. It's open and it's back with a vengeance, seating for almost 300 inside. Now, remember when hotels were motels and the attached restaurant was like the Howard Johnson's? No, just me? Okay, anyway. Fialova is the new restaurant that opened in the Bethesdan Hotel, which is actually a Hilton. But I bet they don't have those clam strips and mac and cheese like Hojo's did. So good. Hailing from Miami, you've got Pisco y Nazca. I have no idea how I'm saying that, if I'm saying it right. Ceviche Gastro Bar, also opened in Bethesda this past spring. Evereve is a clothing store that opened this spring, and FP Movement also opened in the same strip of shops adjacent to Bethesda Row. Sephora is slated to open next year. Now my daughter and her friends will have another outpost at which to spend all of their parents' money. Over at Pike and Rose in North Bethesda, there's some new stuff happening too. Bubalina is a new Greek restaurant, very pricey, but the foodies are loving it. I have not eaten here, but I have eaten at seaside cafes in the Greek islands, so I do have something fab to compare it to. And then, surprise, Brandy Melville opened their first Maryland store last month in Pike and Rose as well. If you haven't waited in line just to get into Brandy Melville with your teenager, have you even lived? I don't think so. How about Bethesda's new infrastructure? The Purple Line Metro development continues. Once complete, you'll be able to ride between New Carrollton, Silver Spring, and Bethesda. The connection to New Carrollton is critical because that is also how you could hop on a train to get to Baltimore, New York, or Boston. That is a huge win for people living in Bethesda who don't have a vehicle or who don't want to drive. Also happening is the extension of the Capitol Crescent Trail. The original trail went from downtown Bethesda to Georgetown. It will be extended from Bethesda over to Silver Spring, where it will connect now with other trails. So let's do Bethesda real estate development. If you're looking for new home developments in Bethesda, there's just a couple of chances left, at least in a development in a community. There are only a few new homes left in these places. The other avenue for getting a new home, of course, would be like a tear down and, a one-off type of build. Those are still happening in Bethesda, though not as regularly as they once were because much of Bethesda has been redeveloped already. In the past few years, over 20 multifamily residential development projects have been approved. This has happened thanks to the 2017 Bethesda Downtown Sector Plan, which called for a 20-year vision to really rebuild the downtown. The theme here is like out with the old and in with the new. Many of the buildings being torn down are only 50 to 60 years old. I mean, that's my age. Nobody's tearing me down. All right, the plan wasn't all concrete, though. Maryland values green space. There are 13 additional parks that are planned as part of this Bethesda plan. Also, expect there to be an additional 14,000 jobs by the year 2040. I might not be here for that, but anyway. There is currently 30.4 million square feet existing under construction or part of an approved site plan, which means that yes, it's coming. The plan called for a cap of 32.4 million square feet for downtown Bethesda to include 10 apartment buildings. Before I go through the highlights of these projects, let me start with the properties that are for sale. Condos and townhomes. So there's a mixed-use development planned just adjacent to a county parking lot, which they call Lot 25. We're going to talk about that in a minute. There will be a mix of condos and townhomes as well as 15 live-work units. There will be a public park and amenities for the residents. 4824 Edgemore Lane was originally going to be 111 condos. Now it's possibly going to be a combination hotel condo. That's going to make for some interesting financing for sure. O'Malley is a community where they are still building these gorgeous, large new homes, and they have some spec homes that you can move right into if you don't want to wait for the build to happen. There's also a townhome development that's happening at Westbard. Now let's go through the apartments. There are tons of apartments coming to Bethesda, which is really a testament to what the county and the developers have planned. 7749 Old Georgetown Road is an assemblage of buildings that will be demolished to build a 17-story apartment building. This is going to be part of Bethesda's skyline, as the building's expected to be 175 feet. Over at 4861 Battery Lane, a 12-story apartment building is in the works. 453 apartments are coming there. The county parking lot 25 mentioned earlier also has redevelopment plans in the future. 235 units are coming there, plus a 90-foot wide public park. At the corner of Wisconsin Avenue and Montgomery Lane, a 26-story building should be complete by the end of the year. That's going to have 300 apartments. A block over at 4901 Battery Lane, 12-story building planned. There will be 400 apartments. 4858 Battery Lane, which is at the corner of Woodmont Avenue, currently has 6 mid-century apartment buildings that will be redeveloped over the next 10 or so years. When complete, 315 units, and it's going to be higher than the current height limit, which is being allowed due to the fact that the moderately priced dwelling units are being included there. The Artina will be at 8000 Wisconsin with over 400 units and commercial space. Across the street at 8001 Wisconsin, there's going to be a 9-story building with 350 apartments. 4719 Hampton Lane is going to be replaced with a mixed-use building of 150 apartments and over 300,000 square feet of office and commercial. 7-Eleven at 7820 Wisconsin is going to be replaced with a 31-story building with 430 apartments. I would say, how could they? But I actually moved on from 7-Eleven to Wawa and Mickey D's for my Diet Cokes. 4725 Cheltenham Drive used to be a Midas, but it's being turned into a building of 110 efficiency and junior 1-bedrooms. What's different about this compared to everything else is that there's actually going to be no parking here. So this is clearly a plan with aiming at just like a different demographic. Small efficiency apartments, it's what they're planning for. 4405 East-West Highway is currently office space, might be redeveloped into a 350 unit apartment building. Hampton House at 4700 Hampton Lane will be finished at the end of 2025. 366 apartment there on 25 floors with ground floor retail. 7155 Wisconsin Avenue is the Farm Women's Cooperative. There are potentially 585 units coming with commercial and retail space. 7126 Wisconsin has a proposal for 355 apartments. And then there's infill behind Bethesda Row. They've got a sliver of a lot back there that if approved, they would stick 250 apartments there. You've probably noticed this is very heavy with apartment rentals. Maryland just does things differently than you might see in Virginia or DC. Affordable housing is a major objective in Montgomery County. They will approve rental apartment developments and then require 20% or more to be affordable to help achieve that objective. So the million-dollar question is whether Bethesda can fill all of this new space. The growth doesn't always mean dollars. Office vacancies are climbing region-wide, urban rents are flattening, and not all retailers are rushing back. Here's the takeaways, you guys. Bethesda's changing rapidly. That's not in question. What is in question is whether or not the developers and tenants and Metro riders will match this ambition. We will see. Contact info's coming next.